Okay.
All right, everyone. We're gonna get started right now. You ready? So call to order at 4:05 p.m. We're gonna start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Robert.
Yes, sir. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then we're gonna have roll call. We could start with you, James. Here.
Okay, actually, I'll do it if you don't mind. Commissioner Belak?
I am present.
Commissioner Herrera is absent. Commissioner Geary?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Salas?
Here.
Commissioner Segura?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Porter?
Present.
And Staff Liaison Carter?
Here.
Now we have public comments today, so I'll be reading those out. Who's supposed to go up? Where do they speak at? Which stand? This one here?
Either one.
So either one, whatever one you choose. We're going to start with Nicholas Cataldo. And you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Oh, boy. That long to clear my throat. Okay, yeah, my name is Nick Cataldo. I am currently president of the San Bernardino Historical and Pioneer Society. I am a former commissioner of this commission here. I was on the original Arts and Historic Preservation, plus I was also on the original Historic Preservation Commission from 2007. There are 4 other members of our Historical Society that are here with me. And the reason why we're here is to talk about the possible discussion of a possible renaming of Second Lake Park. And we unanimously feel that it should not be renamed. Our feeling is before you rename any park or anything, do more research. And the big emphasis, our biggest concern is that, in case you don't know the name, Ignacio Lopez was civil rights activist back in the 1940s. He was the man who encouraged having this lawsuit against the city of San Bernardino because at Paris Hill Park, at the Plunge, if you know where that is, there was segregation was at its zenith. Hispanics, Latinos, Mexicans, they were only allowed to go to swim in the pool separately after the pool was cleaned. And that was wrong. It was bad. So Lopez, through a lot of litigation or whatever, they had a big lawsuit against the city of San Bernardino. The mayor of San Bernardino at the time was William Seckham. William Seckham, as mayor, as you probably know, as mayor, they don't vote. I mean, they only vote when there's a tiebreaker in any kind of election. After the lawsuit was resolved, Seckham acknowledged, or he agreed. I mean, he didn't fight the decision. He withdrew all white-only signs in the city of San Bernardino, or no Mexicans, swimming in the pool. That was resolved. That was in 1944. 2 years later, there was a lake that William Seckham, the mayor, was instrumental in having established. This lake used to be a swamp, and he wanted it to be a fisherman's retreat, not a swimming hole, a fisherman's retreat. It was called Inland Lake. In 1967, so go up about 23 years, it was decided that the lake was draining water.
Time.
Oh, my time's up. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. I'll stop right
Thank you.
Okay, right. Right. Can somebody else come up from our group? Let's.
Did they fill speakers? We have Christian Tobar next.
Okay.
I'm a little bit nervous, so bear with me. My name is Christian Tovar. I've lived in San Bernardino for most of my life, actually since I was 16. I went to Coleman High School. I've had a chance to meet some of you before when I spoke about the history of Electric Avenue and the Pacific Electric Railway. It was the Arrowhead Hot Springs line that came up Electric Avenue. And from my understanding, there is a proposal being discussed to rename Second Lake Park. And so today I'd like to comment about that. I personally disagree with this, and I feel it's misguided. I'm asking as a resident of San Bernardino that we don't proceed with this. San Bernardino has lost so much of its history. Historic buildings have been torn down or destroyed or severely damaged by fires, and place names have been removed or lost to time. San Bernardino is a very old city with a rich story. It was once known as the Gateway City because it was a very important transportation hub, and people who traveled to Southern California essentially had to pass through San Bernardino first. So we were the first city they encountered coming to Southern California. Yet today, very precious little remains of our history. In recent years, it has been taken away piece by piece. The second name in San Bernardino goes back for over 140 years, back to early pioneers, entrepreneurs, and civic leaders in the city. There are descendants who still live in the San Bernardino area today, and it's not right nor fair to tarnish their name. I do understand that there are different opinions on this, but we cannot take renaming a location lightly, especially the name of a place that people have known and grown up with for decades, and erasing the name of a pioneer family in San Bernardino. I know I'm only one person, and I can only speak for myself, but as a concerned resident, I ask that we do not follow through with this. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have David Seckham.
Good afternoon. My name is David Seckham. I am the great-grandson of William C. Seckham, who we're talking about today. Can we put this here, or should we?
Yeah, you can. It's fine.
I grew up very proud of having a family with so many accomplishments through the decades. My great-grandfather and his family relocated from Nova Scotia to San Bernardino in 1883, back in the days of Wyatt Earp, when he was only 10 years old. As a young boy, he hunted in Garner's Swamp for duck. This was an area fed by the local artesian wells. As a teenager, he apprenticed to learn the druggist trade and eventually was a partner owner in multiple pharmacies in San Bernardino. Will was a member of the Volunteer California Guard and achieved rank of major during the Spanish-American War. He became president of the San Bernardino Board of Education and spearheaded the construction of the current high school campus, opened in 1915. In his 60s, Will became the 3-term mayor and held office during World War II. He eliminated the city's scourge of the D Street Red Light District. Under his mayorship, the Air Force Material Command was built in 1942, later becoming Norton Air Force Base and now airport. He prepared this city for the war's end and the return of many men back to town and civilian life. Will also convinced the city to buy Garner's Swamp and create what became Inland Lake and Park, along with his nephew and former mayor, Ormond Seckham, in 1946. Ormond contributed his waterworks and construction experience to tap the artesian wells to create the lake. This was 2 years after the legal ruling of Lopez and Seckham, so this park never had any racial restrictions. Later in 1967, in celebration, Inland Park was renamed after Will and Ormond. I was present on this festive day and remember it well. This was 23 years after the Lopez versus Seckham ruling, which gave time for a major paradigm shift in American life. And yet the city still chose to honor the Seckhams for their services to San Bernardino through the years. A Sun article of November 2022 was with an interview of Councilman Ted Sanchez about his goal to change the park name to Ignacio Lopez Park. I researched the story behind Mr. Lopez. In doing so, I found another native son of San Bernardino, Dr. Mark Osegueda of Brown University, and contacted him. His research field is the historical Mexican-American experience in the Inland Empire. In 2010, Cal State San Bernardino published his thesis on the Lopez v. Second court case. Dr. Osegueda responded to me saying, Teddy Sanchez's conclusions that your great-grandfather was an awful and evil person is a simplistic take, and that history is so much more complex than such statements. Will was a noble civil servant and community member in many regards. Dr. Mark spoke with the former San Bernardino mayor, Judith Valle.
That's your time, I'm sorry. We do have one, let me see. Lynn,
Yeah.
if you'd like to go.
Lynn's gonna finish.
I'm gonna
Okay.
finish. Okay. Teddy Sanchez's conclusion that your great-grandfather was an awful and evil, Dr. Mark spoke with former San Bernardino Mayor Judith Baez, whose family were integral in the Lopez versus Second case. Even she said that it was not appropriate to rename Second Park. Lots of Secoms from San Bernardino besides William C. would be smeared by this action, including the descendants of Ormond, many of whom are part Hispanic themselves. From the Second line has come many contributors to the life of San Bernardino: a police chief, 2 mayors, a fire chief, a local dentist, engineers, teachers, and a council member. So in conclusion, I ask that this commission not fall into the trap of erasing the early history of San Bernardino's pioneers by harshly judging them by the standards of today. Thank you for that time. And for my little part, I'm going to say we've got to quit trying to change history. You accept it and you learn from it. I've been a genealogist since 1978, and you have to learn that things were different in different times. We can't criticize someone, and Mayor Second really didn't have any part in this whole thing. That was to do with Paris Hill Park. He wasn't, Second Lake was never involved with this lawsuit, other than just because he was the mayor. And I was a little surprised to learn today that Ignacio Lopez lived in Ontario. I thought he was from here at least, but I think we need to leave the second name on the park. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comments. Thank you everyone who spoke. Let's move on to, we have presentations.
Yes.
For the Nicholson mural.
Nicholson
mural.
Yeah. So, we do have the submissions and presentations. Artists will have a few minutes to present their artwork, and then have a couple minutes after for Q&A. So we'll call up one at a time. Artists, are you all ready?
How much time per artist?
Each artist will have 5 minutes to present, and then we have 2 to 3, 3 to 4 minutes for Q&A if needed. Okay. So our first one up is Andrew. Lisa will be passing out packets for you guys.
If you want to walk the images closer to us,
Yeah,
I
you
think
can.
it
You
might
can
be.
come up here. You don't.
Yeah.
You can
It's kind
come
of
on
hard
this
for us
side.
to
Okay, yeah.
see that far.
I will. I'm going to be the billboard.
Thank you.
And then Commissioners, Lisa's passing out the application packet that was submitted for your review. We asked this to stay within you guys, as there's personal context or information on this application we can't share with the public at this time.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Ham. I'm an artist living and working in San Bernardino County. A quick summary of my story. I graduated from Art Center College of Design in 2006. And for 20 years, I've been a self-employed artist. And on display is several of my works. The top left one is from Fondi in Italy. And the bottom right one on the second page is a mosaic that I recently finished for the LA County. It's at the USC Child Care Center. And it was my first time ever doing a mosaic. So I really enjoyed the process of learning how to do that. And there's several other pieces from I did 5 murals at the Edelman Child Court House, and displayed is 3 of the 5 images, and just a variety of just travels and murals from around the world. But for this project that I'm proposing, it's called the title is called Unified, and it embraces the spirit and culture of the West San Bernardino, featuring figures inspired by local residents of all ages and ethnicity, living and playing together in a dreamlike heightened reality. The setting is an idealized meadows of orange flowers alternating between Mexican marigolds and California poppies to symbolize and unify our blended community. While including reference to our favorite Nicholson Park features such as fruits, park, community garden, and new baseball diamonds, like kids eating fruits, planting a garden pot, connecting with nature, and wearing baseball gear, maybe even jerseys from the local team like Kukois of San Bernardino. The mural will also be a celebration of community, cultural traditions, holidays, gatherings, like picnics, birthdays, Easter egg hunts, Independence Day, Halloweens, and Dia de Muertos. It also acknowledged the ancestors and elders who appear in background in more of a muted and painterly tones. Subtle, abstract elements will represent the spirit world and symbolize the past and present coming together. Among these figures, we will imagine the Sereno tribe as they once lived here in our industrial home. This photo mock-up shows a preliminary concept of a 50 section of the 200-foot mural, which will be expanded to add additional figures and activities after I consult with the community and parkgoers about what aspect of their neighborhood they wish to celebrate. The section that I have pictured here features purple overtones, which will gradually shift through red, orange, yellow, greens, and blues overtones across the mural. The mural concept examples above demonstrate this technique of color shifting, which will happen more gradually over the 200-foot span of Nicholson Park. By incorporating figures inspired by community members from West San Bernardino in a subtle, heightened reality that this is an inspiring and aspirational, I believe I can offer something distinctive and memorable that would elevate the park while enhancing the civic pride of parkgoers and the entire community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions?
I have a question. It's showing on the dimensions 100 not to exceed 200. Are you going to be beyond 200? And why is that written in there that way?
That's the sample, I think.
Oh,
It was
okay.
in the form. We're planning on doing the full 200-foot span. This is about 50 feet of it.
Okay. But you're going to do more than 200? You were mentioning that. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
In the application itself, it was to not, asking not to exceed the 200.
Got you. So this is just an impression of what 50 feet would cover here, and then you're going to go 200. You're going to ask the community what their input is.
Exactly.
Okay. And you're going to have like community meetings. How are you going to get that information?
We'll just do community meetings, ask locals of what they would like to trade.
Sounds great.
visit the
Like
park.
go to like maybe a neighborhood
baseball
thing.
games.
Yeah, a neighborhood. What do they call them? Associations.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Robert.
Mr. Ham, I do notice that the little girl in the middle on the right-hand side, her face is a little blurry. Is there a reason in the art that face is blurry?
No,
or-
that's just basically just to lay out the composition.
Okay.
And,
It will be more clear if it was.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It'll look more like.
Because you
his
did mention
artwork.
in the background the ancestors a little bit faded back,
Right,
but
right.
that's not that little girl.
No, no.
Okay.
This is just a photo mock-up.
Okay.
Do you mind
Sorry.
coming closer? For
Sorry.
Because
Robert?
I like
Yeah.
it. It's just that,
See
that
his
face.
art style?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that it would be
his
painted in his art style.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
that's just a quick photo mock-up to sort of give the idea.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions before the next presenter? Thank you so much for your presentation.
All right. Next up, Paul Lacey.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Hal Lacey. I am honored and grateful to be here today, representing the city of San Bernardino and the Nicholson Park Mural Project. I would also like to thank the Arts Historical Preservation Commission for this acknowledgement and for the opportunity to contribute to such a meaningful public work. I've been practicing art since about the age my son is now. He just recently turned 7. That lifelong connection to creativity continues to guide the way that I approach community design today. I attended Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, followed by Otis College of Art and Design in Los Angeles, and Art Center as well in Pasadena. Those experiences shape my understanding that art isn't limited to canvas or studios. It resides, it lives in the spaces that we share and the communities that we bring together. For me, every aspect of life requires and involves art and design. From nature to architecture to the way that neighbors interact in a park. Thoughtful design helps create identity, belonging, and pride within a community. The mural concept I'm proposing for Nicholson Park reflects exactly that spirit. The composition highlights the activities and energy that define the park. I have baseball, basketball, there's youth movement, and family presence. The skyline references and the geometric cultural motifs connect the space to regional identity and also heritage. Together, these elements create a visual rhythm that celebrates both recreation and community history. My goal is for this mural to feel recognizable and welcoming to all residents. I want the people who play here to see themselves represented, families to feel pride in their neighborhood space, and visitors to immediately understand the importance of Nicholson Park as a gathering space. I would truly value the opportunity to contribute my creativity, professionalism, and experience of art and design to support the continued transformation of Nicholson Park and to collaborate with the people that have already invested so much care and that have already done an amazing job with this project. I want to thank you for your time and consideration, and that's
Okay.
Any questions? Do you have a portfolio of murals?
yes, I've submitted some of the murals that I've done,
Okay.
maybe 3 or 4 examples.
Okay.
Probably maybe 10 more that I could add. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
we have Christian. Yes. Yes.
Good evening, guys. My name is Christian Mariscal. First of all, I want to thank you guys for giving an artist opportunity to create artwork, here locally. I'm a native San Bernardino, so for me to see you guys take part in, helping the art community create things like this and in a space for a lot of people to see, gives me a lot of pride. I don't have a display, but my vision for that park would be to kind of go around that area and take pictures and kind of form them as a sports card and place them behind or in front of kind of like letters or a shape forming the letters MP. I did a little bit of research on a gentleman who they named the park after, and I believe he was a veteran. I think it would be cool to maybe honor him in that park. I think also we could honor some of the local people that came from San Bernardino, sports people like, Brian Russell, Jaden Daniels, and just kind of give these kids that go to these parks a little motivation, to kind of step their game up and let them know that they could do stuff, beyond just rec ball and stuff like that. So that's kind of my vision on what I would want to do on that wall.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything else, or you?
No, that's it.
Any question?
Yeah. I do like your vision, what you've explained. Are you going to submit some type of a draft or proposal as the idea so we can get the concept of what you have in mind? I mean, I can see it in my mind. I'm an artist,
Yeah.
but.
So for me, like I did a project over at Campo Santo, and I met with the neighborhood association there.
Okay.
And I just went around and just took pictures, and I got with a few of them and just kind of got input with them. And they were kind of giving me ideas of like landmarks, specifically to that area. So
Right.
That's something that I would love to do. Not only just for that area, because that's borderline Rialto and San Bernardino growing up, that was the Manor side. So for me, we can maybe put a little bit of both, but for the most part, I would love to kind of like incorporate the sports just in general.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
And there's, usually we have a couple names in the application. This is.
Okay, I just see the photos. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to say, I know you've done more work in the city. I'm surprised you don't have more of it on here. So, but I appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah. Well, we just try to just keep doing it, we just try to keep going and, whoever gets chosen, it's going to beautify that area regardless, so that gives everybody else a chance to kind of build off of that as well.
Thank
I
you.
think that's the most important part.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Alejandro.
My son's not 7 years old, so I wish I could have him. That'd be awesome, but he didn't want to come. He's too old. So let me put this a little closer. Whoa, this is a crazy one.
Like a stork with broken legs or something.
It's like a magic trick.
It's like those tentacles.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was going to put it closer so they could see it.
I think we have to move together.
Okay.
In the body.
Yeah. Thank you. Bicycle there. Cool. Good afternoon. Thanks for having us here. I appreciate the seriousness that you guys are taking to put some good art, public art, in this park. You know, not a lot of cities care this much to bring public art to the community, so I think it's very important to be doing that, so thank you for that. My name is Alejandro Poli, also known as Man One. Started off as a graffiti artist when I was 16 years old. I grew up in Los Angeles and learned how to paint on the streets. I've been painting since I was a little kid, but I got into graffiti art when I was in high school. And after I got into graffiti, I immediately knew that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I didn't know how I was going to get paid or how I was going to make money, but I just knew like I need to paint. And so after high school, I went to Loyola Marymount University and got my degree in fine art. Graduated in '93, and this is all I've been doing full time ever since. So I have been doing public art, murals. I do a lot of corporate commission work. Companies like Nike, MTV, tons of companies that I work with. I did the alley rounds on Saturday. So I'm very connected with a lot of like corporate kind of projects as well as public art projects. In my proposal, I believe I have some of the projects there. My largest mural is an 86-foot tall mural in the city of El Monte that represents the Quiche Nation. So I did that mural a few years ago. So anyways, I do a lot of public art. I travel around the world. I do murals all over the place. I've been to Nepal and to Panama, working with the U.S. embassies over there and bringing the power of art to people. And so I've been living here in the Inland Empire now, going on 6 years, and I have my studio out here too. And so I love it out here. I've been, just appreciating all the opportunities and just what there is to offer out here. My daughter works in San Bernardino with kids on the spectrum, so we're all kind of like making it work here. Going to the project at hand, I have the sketch there, the proposal. This is just a sample of what it might be. Obviously, like we're talking about the mural being maybe like 100 feet long. So this is just a short, sample of it. But I titled the mural "A Walk Along the Park," and to me it was important that the first thing I saw with the photographs of where the murals are going to be is there's a path that goes around, and obviously the park's in the middle part of it, whatever. So I imagine like who's going to be looking at this mural, right? It's going to be kids, it's going to be elderly, it's going to be baseball players, soccer players, people jogging, people from all walks of life are going to be there. So what I wanted to do is how do I include everybody in this mural without being, without painting people's faces and showing color and this and that, and just how do I make it a little bit more fun, and how do I make it so that it's a whimsical, fun mural, for everybody to enjoy. So I figured, everyone wears sneakers, right? And or some kind of shoes, and everyone has different styles of shoes and different types of shoes they wear, whether it's athletic shoes, basketball shoes, whatever it is. People have their style in their shoes. So I figured, why don't we do these gigantic shoes, because the walls are 6 feet tall. So I figured if we make a landscape of the San Bernardino Mountains in the background, maybe starting off in one end and then kind of climbing up, and then in the foreground have these people walking or playing sports or whatever, but all focused on their shoes, right? Because sneaker culture is a big culture. People identify, especially in parks, with whatever type of gear they're wearing to play different sports. So I figured, let's do that. So to me, that was a symbol of diversity, a symbol of culture, a symbol of pride, and also something that's fun. Like when you're a kid running around the park, sometimes you don't have to look at a mural and it has to be so deep and so intense. I mean, I've done a lot of those murals as well, and there's always a time and place. But for me, growing up, I'm also an athlete. I grew up playing soccer my whole life, and I played Division I soccer and played semi-pro. And so I was always at the park, always, And for me, being at the park was about having fun. It was about, playing sports, being with my friends, my family. And so I want the people that see this mural to walk away with like this kind of sense of like, oh, I had a good day at the park today, you know? And so that's the idea, the concept of the mural is just to walk along the park. So as you're walking along, there it is. And probably in the middle would be the word Nicholson somewhere, you know? So it's in there, in the sketch there you see. But that's about it. That's about the whole concept I have. Thank you.
I want to thank you for that presentation. It was great. For all of you preserving the history of California, that's what we're here for. And a big part of that is Nicholson Park. Obviously, second part, that's what we're talking about, preserving the history of California. And I want to thank you for taking the time to educate us, and we'll certainly seriously consider this. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions or comments? Is everyone good?
No, we're done, that's it.
I believe
we have
there's-
one, we have one more.
Yeah, there's- Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, D'Angelo.
I think that's me. Hi guys. I'm gonna go ahead and set my poster board up here. All right. Am I good to go? Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, I just want to kind of echo the same sentiment as the other artists, and thanking you guys for allowing us the opportunity to create art within our city. My name is D'Angelo Castro. I'm a multimedia artist based here in the city. I'm a resident of the 5th Ward. I graduated from San Bernardino Adult Ed. Well, I got my GED from there years ago, but super excited to be here and present my artwork to you guys. A little bit about my background. Up until 2019, I was working as an operations manager for a retail store here in San Bernardino called Marshall's. I'm sure you guys have driven by there or stopped in there at some point. Doing that job was a good challenge to me, but it wasn't fulfilling for what I wanted to do with my life. I felt like I was very driven to do art and photography. So in 2009, right before the pandemic hit, I left my job and pursued art and photography full time. And then the pandemic hit, which was a crazy time for me, but it gave me time to really like hone in my craft, network with other artists in the area, and build my art community and start my art journey. Over the past 7 years, this decision has taken me all over the world. I've got to visit Japan. Last year I went to Amsterdam, Istanbul. I shot a photo project in Jordan, which was very fun for me. Also Mexico several times, creating art and photography around the world. One of my biggest projects to date was a collaboration with Toyota where I designed their activation for 2 music festivals and got selected to be flown out to Miami to paint live in front of thousands of people at this gigantic music festival in Miami. I'm super proud of that. But on a more local level, I've completed several murals across Southern California. I painted Big Bear's Snowboard Resort, Mountain High Snowboard Resort in Wrightwood. I've got murals in Joshua Tree. I painted a mural in downtown Redlands, and I painted some murals inside of the Enterprise building here in San Bernardino as well. And I'm excited to continue creating work that connects with the communities and tells meaningful stories. This mural is, I've titled From Rails to Roots, is a tribute to the people who built the Nicholson community, the families who stayed, and the children who will carry it forward. So the mural is broken into kind of like storytelling segments, but each segment can stand on its own in a powerful way and statement. The mural is 150 feet long, which, by the way, I'm open to revisions on the size. I wasn't sure the exact size you guys wanted. So it's 150 feet long. You can kind of see the thin strip across the top. That will be the layout of the entire mural, with the Nicholson Park right in the middle, because I assumed if it's centered with the baseball diamond, that it would be the focal point of photos and people visiting the area. Many of the families here in that area worked in industries that shaped the neighborhood identity, including the Santa Fe railway yards, local packing houses, and the Route 66 auto and service businesses. This imagery reflects those roots. It honors the railroad workers who helped build the city, the citrus plant workers who helped sustain it, and the deep generational family ties that continue to define the community. You'll also see in there that I pay homage to Route 66 and the area's long-standing love for classic cars. I have the Route 66 sign there with the classic car that everyone loves in the area. The color palette that I chose, I picked it to be vibrant and energetic, but I wanted to still complement the natural aesthetic of the park. I didn't want it to be too conflicting to the community around it, to where it stood, you looked out your window and it stood out too much. I kind of wanted it to blend with the park's aesthetic, but still energize you and calm you while you're visiting the park, if that makes sense. Ultimately, the goal of the mural is to honor the past, encourage community engagement, and strengthen family values and inspire the future generations. I'm absolutely open to any revisions to make the mural best serve the community as possible. And yeah, that's all I have. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
No, I don't.
Thank you, D'Angelo.
Well, it's like nunchucks.
Yeah? You wanna-
I think I have. One that has a mind of
This
its
is
own.
part of the application. Figure this out.
I hope I landed at least a beat.
All right. And real quick, if I can get the artist and with your boards and kind of come right here so we can take a picture. Christian, just and hold up.
So this is the homage to the railway workers. A lady helping a kid plant a garden representing roots. Neighborhood community claim, bikes. Citrus workers, Route 66.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's see. 1, 2. Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hold on to them just in case after the meeting you guys can take a closer look. You want to just leave them on
Please,
the table?
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Good idea.
Thank you.
All right.
Consent calendar. Consent calendar, so approval of draft minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion from Steven, second from Robert. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
And it's going to director report, so go ahead.
First off, I would like to welcome a new commissioner, Denise Salas. Welcome.
Welcome.
Happy to be here. I'm excited.
You want to share any little bit?
I've lived in San Bernardino for about 18 years now. I moved my family here when I was, I don't want to date myself, about 20. My kids grew up here. I work for Yohabyo Seminole Nation. So I love San Bernardino and I'm excited to continue to serve my community.
Awesome. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I don't.
Okay, so you have
The event calendar.
The event calendar and everything else.
okay. So you have we distributed the 2026 events calendar. It has everything.
You mean this encyclopedia?
on one, and then everything else that we have going on. You know, art, some elements incorporate historical preservation as well as some, you know, art components.
Good work. I mean, that's a lot of events.
This is a small snippet. Our Parks and Rec Commission had a lot more. So, just wanted to share that with you all. And then with the CIP projects as part of, you know, the Nicholson Park opening, that we have we're throwing out a few tentative dates. So as soon as we get those dates or dates solidified, it'll be a Saturday. I'm not sure when, potentially end of May or in June. We're looking, again, we want to make sure that all the stakeholders, all their schedules align, so we can have it as well. And then in the midst from now till then, we can do the selection of the artists so that we can get that going, and hopefully within the timeline, which is, right, am I on track on the timeline? April 24th is a notification to the artists of who will be selected. And then after that we have the prep and the consultation, and then in May, with installation being completed by the end of May. So it'll be all, you know, kind of aligned with it, and so it'll be a full grand opening, ribbon cutting of that. Yes, David?
One question, are these the only artists that are submitting, or were there other artists that submitted?
These are the only ones that submitted.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? That were submitted in the by the deadline.
Okay.
Yes. That's the main element for the Nicholson Park. Okay, so interpretive signage, Second Lake. We are communicating with UHAVIATAM of San Manuel to look at identifying artifacts and elements within the park and having actual interpretive signage. So we're looking at trying to create a design that's going to represent the park as a whole. And so how it's going to be, you know, we have kind of gave a list of different elements that were going to be in the park as part of the project, and gave that list to UHAVIATAM to translate in the Serrano language. And so we're looking at right now of, we have a fabricator, and now we've got to work on a designer to design what we would like to, how we want to see the imagery throughout the park. And this will also be extending into the additional project from the funding that was received by Ramos's office, the additional $5 million. So that what is it kind of, it's encompassed into phase one, if some of it, and then the rest we're considering a phase two. So that signage will kind of tie into that as well. So we're looking at that. Yes, Robert.
Michael.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it possible, like we have that, what are those, QR code for the other mural, to how to use the different things? Maybe on the, what's that, Blair Park, right? That shows how to use the different exercise equipment.
Oh,
So I do believe, like maybe at the Victor Valley Museum, they might have like QR codes, something that shows how to actually pronounce the word correctly.
Okay.
So some of these words are very complex, let me tell you. And for someone who's actually studied Serrano and has their dictionary knows, wow. So it would be cool if someone was actually, they could, you know, get it on their phone and actually know how to say
phonetic.
it. Yeah. So just I don't know if it's possible, but it might be.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Are they hiring? Is like the tribe gonna hire someone who's native for the signage for the work, the actual
Hires, you're talking
an
about
artist or somebody,
the
a
actual
crafts
design
person?
of it?
Yeah.
No, it's a city project. So we're working with the AHPC in regards to making sure that the language is correct and the wording is correct.
Okay.
So they're as a providing the context and information.
So consultation.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean they'll have, once a design is made. So we're looking at that right now. I envision something, landscape, rectangle, signage that will have an imagery of, say, a flower, plant a flower, and then what the flower is in the meaning, and then the other half of it is the the interpretive, of the surrounding language in the same context, the pronunciation of it and the description and all that as well. That's kind of where the concept that we're going with, but open to other conceptual ideas. If you have, we can have that conversation about it.
So are you gonna put out like an artist call for those things that are gonna be emulated on the signs, or how's that gonna work?
That's what I'm looking at with the project scope right now.
Okay.
But just wanted to bring that to light, and if there's an element where it needed to come back to the commission to review.
I guess what material are you currently looking at?
Well,
for the signage?
we have a fabrication that's going to be, it's outdoors, so there's fabricators that we've already reached out to that this is their wheelhouse, outdoors, so that it's UV protected, weather protected, and graffiti safe from etching, and can be easily cleaned if it gets tagged.
Good deal.
I just know the SBX has weathered really poorly. The plastic they used or whatever material they've used has deteriorated.
Yeah.
So just thinking about that, like what material can we use that can last years and years.
And is funding
Gold
gonna
and
be
silver?
be upheld for that to maintain those signs? Is it gonna be funding? Is that in the 5 million, or is that gonna be needed to be drawn in as well?
Well, with the fabrication, we're hoping that the material withstands.
Magic material.
Magic material for at least 25 years. Give or take.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there security going to be planned for the park, like moving forward once it reopens, or
security on site 24/7?
like during the evenings, or is that just dependent on the budget every year?
Dependent. We don't have it identified to have a security on there 24/7. We do have security 24/7 that roams. So if there's you see something after hours, we always encourage everyone to make a phone call and say, hey, parks, the park's closed, it's especially Secum, it's gated. So if you see something, call it in, and that way they can respond.
We do have park rangers now.
They roam all the parks?
Yes, ma'am.
24/7. Okay.
Will there be any cameras established?
As of right now.
Movement cameras?
Yeah, as of right now, we're having discussions about it, but nothing set.
Okay.
And duck food kiosk?
That's a thought. I'm looking into.
I've been asking for the duck food kiosk for a long time.
Duck food, fish food.
Well, they make $1 a bag up there at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
They
I
make
want to
some
mention, we
change.
do have park rangers that patrol the parks on a regular basis. I see them with trucks.
Do they do it in the evening?
Yeah, I've seen them in the evening.
Now, is that still
Not
gonna
too
be
late.
closed at a certain time? Is it gonna be still a fence perimeter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the fencing is not coming down. At
Sounds
least,
good.
at least not anytime soon.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Yeah, no problem.
Discussion, the first item is with city attorney. So rules about the commission and bylaws and Brown Act.
Thank you, Chairman Segura and Commissioners. My name is Albert Maldonado from the City Attorney's Office. I'm pleased to be here with you tonight.
I've seen you on TV.
Yeah, sure you do. Unfortunately, my presentation will not be as fun or as engaging as looking at the Nicholson Park, artist renderings. I enjoyed that too, so thank you to all the artists. I hope in half an hour we can go through this entire training, and I also want to field your questions. And so as we go through it, if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me, just raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to stop and answer your questions. Let me hand some copies of the Brown Act presentation out. If you could take that one, Anthony, and hand it down. And I'm also going to pass around my business card, if you could hand those down also. I'm going to do the Brown Act last. I'm going to start with rules and bylaws. And I don't have copies of them for you. But if you, I imagine you should have received copies before, but if you never received them or you want an updated copy of them, please let Vanessa know and she'll get you copies
They're in our
of these
binders.
documents.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thank you.
and then Vanessa, the extras for the Brown Act presentation, if you can put them out for the public. Thank you. So let me begin with ordinance number MC 1454. This is the ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, amending chapter 2.17 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code related to boards, commissions, and citizen advisory committees general. So these rules apply to all the boards, commissions, and committees in the city. And I just want to point out from this ordinance two things that you should all be aware of. First, each member shall be and remain a registered voter within the city, and no member shall be an employee of the city. So if any of you move out of town and you don't have property here anymore, you cannot remain on this commission. Also, if you were ever to become an employee of the city, you could not remain on this commission. That's the first thing I want you to know. The second thing has to do with absences. This ordinance reads, if a member of any board, commission, or citizen advisory committee fails to attend 3 consecutive regular meetings without excuse from the chair, which excuse must be obtained within 5 calendar days before the meeting date, he or she shall automatically cease to be a member of the board, commission, or citizen advisory committee. And the chair shall notify the former member and the nominating official, that's the nominating person from the city council, of that vacancy. And then the vacancy will be filled in the same way that all of you were appointed to this commission. So I always want to point that out. So 3 consecutive meetings. If they're unexcused, then you're automatically out. There is no vote, either from this body or the council. You're just out. Okay, so please be aware of that. Those are the 2 things I wanted to highlight from that ordinance. Then, I want to turn to a resolution that established this commission specifically. It's resolution number 2018-97. Resolution of the Mayor and Council establishing the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission. What I wanted to review with you is your specific charge. What is your purview? This resolution reads that the commission is created to serve in an advisory capacity to the Mayor and Council in all matters pertaining to the arts, culture, and historic preservation and heritage in the city. The commission shall study and advise the mayor, city council, and city manager, and make recommendations with respect thereto. You shall recommend for the mayor and council a set of goals and annual objectives that will serve the visual, performing, literary, and multimedia arts. You shall serve in advisory capacity to the Planning Commission in making recommendations related to the designation, preservation, and protection of historical properties. You shall promote the public interest in and understanding of historical and scenic properties and the preservation thereof. You shall develop recommendations concerning the allocation of city resources as available for the support of historic and cultural affairs, events, and programs within the city. You shall recommend positions on matters pertaining to federal, state, and local policies, programs, and procedures, and any legislation affecting the city's cultural and historical assets and resources. And lastly, perform other related duties as outlined in resolutions adopted by the mayor and council or that exist in the municipal code. So that is the resolution that pertains to this commission specifically. Then I want to review a resolution that establishes bylaws for all city boards, committees, and commissions. So this applies to everyone. And I only want to point out two things from here. The first is quorum. How do you calculate quorum? You calculate quorum by counting a majority of the commissioners, of the full body, and you count absences, okay, so vacancies. You have one vacancy on your commission. Your commission is composed of 9. A majority of 9 is 5. So you count the vacancy, and so when you want to have a meeting, you have to have 5 commissioners here. If you only have 4, you don't have an actual meeting under the bylaws, okay? The second thing I wanted to point out is abstentions. There are different rules for how you count abstentions, and your bylaws state that the abstention of any commissioner who is present for an item, that has considered and heard all the presented evidence, shall constitute an affirmative vote on any motion. That means if you abstain, it means your vote will be counted as a yes. It will not be counted as an abstention, and it will not be counted as a no. It will be counted as a yes. Okay, so that's important to know. The next thing I want to cover, I know that there were some public comments about renaming of Second Lake Park. I wanted to review with you the naming policy for the procedures that govern the naming and renaming of city facilities and parks. This is not an invitation for us to have an actual discussion about what the public commenters brought up, because it's not on the agenda tonight. So this policy is not geared towards that, it's for everything, but I want you to know these procedures because you're going to, in a future meeting, I think very soon, receive an agenda item about that topic, about the renaming of Second Lake Park. I don't want you, for the first time, to see these procedures then. I wanted to review them with you now, and you will review them again when it comes to you at a future meeting. And Vanessa, I would ask that you include this resolution in that agenda packet so that everyone can review it a second time. So this is resolution number 2023-134, resolution of the mayor and city council establishing policies and procedures for the naming of city parks, facilities, and amenities, and adopting the updated policies and procedures for naming and renaming city parks, recreational facilities, and amenities. First, let me read to you the process. This resolution reads, requests for naming or renaming parks, recreational facilities, or amenities shall be submitted in writing to the city's Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department on the standard naming and renaming city parks, recreational facilities, and amenities application form. Second, applications will be reviewed for completeness using the naming criteria in this policy by the department director or designated department staff. 3, completed applications will be forwarded to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission for review, public comment, and discussion at a regularly scheduled public meeting. 4, here's where you come in. If the nomination involves renaming a park, recreational facility, or amenity, the request must first be referred to the city's Arts and Historical Preservation Commission for review and evaluation before the request is forwarded to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. 5, after the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission has considered the request, the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission will then make a recommendation. That recommendation is to the mayor and council. If more than one completed application is received for the same site, the commission will consider all petitions before making a final recommendation. 6, city staff shall submit the recommendation to the city attorney's office to undergo a legal review, and staff will prepare the necessary documents, the resolution, staff report, etc. To present the recommendation to the mayor and city council for final approval. A cost analysis must also be prepared if expenditures associated with the recommendation are anticipated. And lastly, 7, if a recommended name is rejected by a majority of the city council, the process shall be referred to the originating Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission for reconsideration. So that's the process in broad strokes. Now, when there is a request to name or rename a facility or a park, this resolution also details the various factors that you should take into consideration. It reads, the naming of any city park, recreational facility, and amenity is intended to be an act in perpetuity. It's meant to last forever. Sites which already bear the name of an individual, group, or organization shall not be considered for renaming to uphold the original intent of honor and respect unless substantial evidence supports the findings that the individual, group, or organization was falsely credited with the honor for which the facility was named, or that the name now tarnishes the reputation of and brings harm to the city. Any such cause for renaming shall be referred to the Parks Commission and Arts Historical if it's renaming. We went through that already. And those considerations between both of those bodies are, of course, in a Brown Act meeting, publicly noticed and available for public comments. The resolution also has criteria for selection of names. It reads, the selection of a name for any city park, recreational facility, or amenity must meet one or more of the following criteria. There are 4 listed. First, the name is of an identifiable geographic location or a name that provides a link to city, county, state, or national heritage or development. 2, the name is appropriate to the park, recreational facility, or amenity to reflect native wildlife, history, geographic area, or natural geologic features related to the city of San Bernardino. 3, the name is of a significant historical event, a local landmark, or for a historical figure. And 4, the name represents the city's ethnic and cultural diversity. And there are other factors related to selection of a name. These additional criteria will be used in evaluating the use of names of persons either living or deceased. The name of an individual has a long-standing affiliation with the city of no less than 20 years of significant community service, involvement, and or contributions beyond the ordinary interest level. And those efforts have either 1, enhanced the quality of life and well-being of city residents, or 2, they have contributed to the preservation of the city's history or culture, or 3, they have made exemplary or meritorious contributions to the city or its residents. Also, the individual must be identified as a City of San Bernardino resident, a member of a San Bernardino service organization, or employed with the city during his or her community or public service. And lastly, the name of an individual, organization, or business may be used if there has been a significant contribution towards the acquisition of the site, either by donation of land or the cost of providing the facility. So there's a lot of factors, as you can see. That's why I didn't want you to see this for the first time when it comes to you. So you have time to digest it. And Vanessa will include this in your agenda packet so you can read it. I passed out my card so that if any of you have questions about that, you want to talk about it with me, feel free to give me a call and we can have a chat. Okay? Let me pause there before we go into the Brown Act and ask, are there any questions so far about anything that I've covered? Yes, sir.
Okay. On the 3 strikes and on that section about the 3 strikes.
Mhm.
How is that gonna be upheld? Because I've heard in the past that it wasn't upheld, and some people just got to stay here while they were not contributing, and then they finally got let go because we couldn't even make quorum.
So, of course, they would have to actually file a legal action to dispute that.
Oh.
I haven't seen that happen.
Okay.
It would be a lot of money to make a
Really?
fuss
Wow,
about
what a
trying to
mess.
stay on a board or committee.
Wow, I had no idea.
But yeah, it is automatic, but again, it's unexcused absences.
Understood.
So if you reach out in advance, you say, hey, I'm gonna be on vacation, or I have a medical appointment,
It's
or
covered.
I'm taking care of my mom,
Right.
whatever it is, then you have an excuse. And so that doesn't count towards the 3.
Okay.
And it has to be 3 consecutive.
Understood.
And we just had this happen with Scott Olson.
That's right.
And he had to be brought back on.
That's right.
Okay.
And reaching out to the city liaison, the appointing official.
I would recommend that you email both the Chair Segura, and Vanessa, the staff liaison,
Okay.
both.
Okay, my next question. Sorry, I have a couple more.
Mhm.
Working with, you mentioned working with the planning committees.
Mhm.
If we're going to do that, then we should be integrated or have conversations with them occasionally so that we know what we can be helping them with and what they can be helping us with as a group or a committee. And I don't see that happening yet. I just wonder how that's gonna be proposed or how we're gonna make that happen.
So the document mentions specific things. It mentions protecting historical sites. I'm thinking, imagine a city designated local landmark status. Okay, that would be
We're kind of working on that with our ad hoc committee.
that would be the kind of thing that should come here first before it would go to planning
Understood.
commission.
Okay.
And so I would recommend that Vanessa, maybe you ask Gabriel to come. Gabriel Elliott is the one who works with the
Okay.
planning commission. Have him come and make a presentation to this commission so that you have an understanding of are those items that are coming before planning commission, or maybe you haven't heard about it because not many have come,
Right.
if at all, right?
Right.
And so, but it would be good to have him come and make a presentation.
I think so. Let's see, there's one other one. On the abstention, I voted that way before, and now that I know it's gonna be a yes, maybe will not be abstaining when I make a vote. Is that something that's new? Is it something that's just been brought up?
Would you mind just going over that again? That was my question also.
Sure.
If you don't mind, please.
So, so when there is a roll call vote, okay, you can vote yes, you can vote no, or you've heard that you can abstain. So I abstain. And the common understanding of abstaining is I'm not voting yes or no. I'm sitting out. I'm abstaining. But your bylaws say that if you abstain, it's the equivalent of you voting yes. And that's why I wanted to teach you that. Because different rules apply different ways. Robert's rules, under Robert's rules, raise your hand if you've heard of Robert's rules. Okay. Under Robert's rules, abstentions are not counted as a yes or no. So that truly is, I'm just sitting this one out. Okay? But local rules can dictate if it's counted as no or yes, and your bylaws say it's counted as yes.
Gotcha.
So that's why I wanted to teach you that, because like you mentioned, I want you to own the fact that if you're abstaining, you're owning that your vote is being counted as yes. And if you don't want your vote to be counted as yes, you really need to vote no. Okay, you can't sit that one out.
What about recusing yourself as long as there are quorum?
That's a different issue.
Okay.
Because recusal is in the context of if you had a conflict of interest.
Okay.
When you have a conflict of interest, then you have to state your conflict on the record, just briefly. I'm an employee of the business that's applying for X, okay? So I'm going to recuse myself. Then you stand up and you leave the room. You have to leave the room. Why? Because there's actually case law that talks about hand gestures and eye gestures trying to get people to vote a certain way. And the rule when you have a conflict is you cannot participate or influence the decision. So it's not simply that you can't sit up here and hear the discussion and then vote. You can't talk with staff about it. You can't talk with the other commissioners about it even before you get to the meeting. You cannot influence the decision in any way. So recusal is a bit different.
And so that affects the quorum, so if you don't have a quorum, you just
can.
table it for the next meeting?
It can, that's right. So imagine, it's a very good point. Imagine you have 5 commissioners that show up. 5 is the minimum that you need for quorum. But then someone says, oh, I have a conflict, okay, I can't participate in this item, and guess what? It's the only item on your agenda. You need to adjourn because you don't have a quorum to do business anymore. Okay? But here's a tip that will help all of you and that will help staff. If you believe or even speculate that you might have a conflict of interest, 1, reach out to staff so they can reach out to me and I can maybe give you some advice on that. And really to the point is you want to reach out in advance so that if you do have a conflict and they know because they poll all of you your availability for the meeting, and if they know there's not going to be quorum for the meeting, you don't have to waste your time to come. They could just cancel the meeting for lack of quorum. And then no one has to waste their time and come and then find out, oh, we don't have a quorum, now let's all go home. Let's avoid that issue by reading the agenda in advance and thinking, okay, will I maybe have a conflict here so that we can all work that out before we get to the meeting. Okay? Any other questions?
I had a question
Yes.
about, I know it said you have to excuse yourself 5 days prior to the meeting. So if you have a family emergency and you ask to be excused 2 days prior to the meeting, would that be considered unexcused if you reach out to the chair?
I would not consider that. That's the kind of thing where there's the letter and the spirit of the law. And if you have a true emergency where, someone only had to go to the hospital 2 days before the meeting, I would consider that you have an excused absence. And I would thank you for reaching out in the first place because you're dealing with an emergency. Okay, so let's go on to the Brown Act, and that's the handout that I passed around. So this is just a primer on the Brown. It's not meant to cover everything, but it's meant to cover just the big ticket items. So we're going to go over what is a meeting and not a meeting. How is that defined? We're going to cover prohibited serial meetings. What are they? What do they look like? Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
I apologize.
Oh, go for it.
There's been a question that's been raised in regards to the length of time for the meeting.
Okay.
How long can the meeting last based on what the city's guidelines are? Is there any set in things set by the bylaws, or can the commission set their own determination of they only want the meeting to last an hour?
There is nothing in the bylaws that states how little or how long a meeting should take place, so the commission can decide for themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, so we're going to cover meetings, prohibited serial meetings, public comments, teleconference rules, and social media interactions. Vanessa, have you dealt with teleconferencing here? Not really? Okay, I'll probably go over that very briefly. All right, let's turn the page. What is a meeting and when is a meeting not a meeting? Okay, let's go to the next slide where it says application meeting. A meeting is defined as any gathering of a majority of the members at the same time and place to hear, discuss, or deliberate upon any matter under their jurisdiction. No action needs to be taken for a meeting to occur. Conversations between and among members of a legislative body about issues confronting the agency is sufficient. So when you hear majority, you should think quorum. So quorum is 5 out of 9. So when 5 out of 9 of you are talking about something that is under your jurisdiction, that is a meeting under the Brown Act. Whether it is legal is if that discussion happened at a noticed meeting that was open to the public, where it will be illegal is if that discussion happened outside of a noticed meeting that was open to the public. And we're going to kind of go through these each at a time. Let's go to the next slide. Here's what is not a meeting. Individual contacts, that's one-on-one conversations. Any one of you can call up anybody else here, and that one-on-one conversation is not prohibited under the Brown Act. Text messages, one-on-one, not prohibited. Email, one-on-one, it is not prohibited under the Brown Act, okay? It's only when it's 5 of you together. Attending conferences and seminars are not meetings under the Brown Act. Attending community meetings, say a ribbon cutting, that is not prohibited. Purely social or ceremonial occasions, same thing. Attendance at standing committee meetings. Standing committee is typically less than a quorum, less than 5, and so that's not a meeting under the Brown Act of the whole body. And then meetings with other legislative bodies. A majority of the governing body may attend as long as they do not discuss among themselves issues related to the agency. So 5 of you decide to go to the planning commission to find out what is it that they're up to, okay? And you all decide to sit together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it prohibited? Depends. If you start talking about, hey, you know, I saw the agenda came out for our next meeting, it's gonna have this, what do you guys think? That's gonna be prohibited, because you're starting to talk about official business, and your discussion is not part of a meeting of this commission. It's part of a meeting of the planning commission. So, since a meeting of this commission was not agendized, it's not open to the public, it is a prohibited meeting. And we're gonna get into that in more detail now. Let's go to the next slide. Serial meetings. Serial meetings are defined as a use of direct communication, personal intermediaries, or technological devices employed by a majority of the legislative body members in order to develop a collective concurrence as to action to be taken on an item by the legislative body. That is the definition of a serial meeting, and it is prohibited. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to get into examples of what that actually looks like. Ways serial meetings can happen. They can be personal meetings, telephone, email, ring correspondence, use of intermediaries, even social media. But again, typically it's when it's 5 of you. When it's 5 of you that are talking, that's when it's going to be a serial meeting. There will be one nuance that I'll get to at the end, which is about social media. Let's go to the next slide. Serial meetings, elements of a serial meeting. Again, it's a series of communications between less than a quorum that, taken as a whole, involves a majority, meaning 5 out of 9. And there's a concurrence, meaning that the discussion advanced or clarified the understanding of an issue, or it facilitated an agreement or compromise among members, or advances the ultimate resolution of an issue. Let's go to the next slide. This is really what I want you to focus on. 2 types of serial meetings. There's a chain serial meeting, and there's a hub and spoke serial meeting. A chain serial meeting, here's an example. Member A speaks to member B, and member B speaks with member C. And just imagine, just for this hypo, that there's only 5 of you. That's why this example is 3. Okay, imagine there's only 5 of you. So 3 of 5 is the majority. Member B speaks with member C about the particular matter, and so in the process, they formed a collective concurrence. So this hypo for all of you would be 1 talks to 2, 2 talks to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and all along the way, you share what the last conversation was. Okay, so Anthony talks with Denise, and they kind of come to an agreement. Then Denise goes and talks to Stephen and says, well, you know, I just had a conversation with Anthony, and we agreed that we were going to do this. What do you think? And it goes down the line until it reaches 5 of you. And once it's reached 5 of you, then that is a serial meeting. That's a chain serial meeting. The other type is a hub and spoke, where instead of down the line like that, it's just Anthony. And Anthony goes and talks to Denise, and then Anthony goes and talks to Stephen, and then Anthony goes and talks to Robert until there's 5 of you. Okay? That's the hub and spoke example.
And if there's no collective concurrence, what is the?
If you're talking about the issue and you're sharing the commentary, the opinion, even if there's not an agreement or a concurrence,
then that's the prohibition.
It's still prohibited. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide over some exceptions. While the Brown Act prohibits serial meetings, it also explicitly provides exceptions for one-on-one communications by a non-member, meaning staff, with members of the legislative body, and like I mentioned before, among you also. One-on-one is allowed, okay? And so serial meetings can also happen with staff. So instead of Anthony talking with 4 of you, let's say it's Vanessa, and Vanessa talks with 5 of you, and Vanessa shares what she talked about with Anthony, with Denise, and then shares what she talked about with Anthony and Denise with Stephen. As soon as there's 5 of you that she has shared, that also is a serial meeting. So it can happen among just the legislative body, and it can include staff or some other third party that acts as an intermediary, sharing that information, okay? But one-on-one is fine. It does not mean that back and forth and sharing of views of different members is allowed. Remember, when it's up to 5. If it's less than 5, it's okay. But if 5 people are involved, that's where it's going to be prohibited. This is important. A lot of people get confused about this. Brown Act also allows communications to schedule meetings. Okay? So imagine that, the agenda is typically run by staff. They put your agenda together. But sometimes one of you will want a certain item to be on an agenda to discuss. Okay? And so you might email Vanessa and say, Vanessa, I think that we need to have either on our next regular meeting agenda this topic, or maybe it's something that you consider more urgent and you think a special meeting needs to be called. And you say, Vanessa, I think that we need to schedule a special meeting to discuss X. Vanessa can email all of you and say, Commissioner, how do you pronounce your name, Stephen? Last name?
Belak.
Belak. Commissioner Belak has suggested calling a special meeting to discuss X topic. Are you all interested and available in discussing that topic at a special meeting? And you can answer the question based on your interest and your availability. You can say, no, I'm not interested in discussing that. Or you can say, I'm interested, but I'm not available. Either way. But the Brown Act allows you to talk about whether to have the meeting on that topic. You can't go into a substantive discussion. You can't say, oh, well, I know why he's requesting that because blah, 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 and I disagree, and then you go into a whole thesis, right? And that's shared with all the commission. That would be prohibited. But you can certainly say, no, I'm not interested in talking about that.
So is that like a sub line or arm to the future agenda items in case we didn't think of it?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so if you have a line item on your agenda for future agenda items, but you might have forgotten something, you could bring that up in an email.
Good to know.
Okay. And then social ceremonial conferences, we covered that one. Those are exceptions. All right, let's go on to public comments. The public has a right to give public comments. At every regular meeting, members of the public have a right to directly address the body on any item of interest if that item is under the jurisdiction of the body. That means if it's on or off your agenda. So they can talk about things on your agenda. They can also talk about things off your agenda, but that are within your jurisdiction. That's how you had the public comments tonight about the renaming of Second Lake. It was not on your agenda tonight, was it? But it's within your jurisdiction. And so during that public comment time, they can give public comments about anything that is under your jurisdiction. For agenda items, the public must be given an opportunity to comment before or during the body's consideration of the item. That's for every item that you're going to take an action on. They have to be able to give comments before you actually vote on that item. At special and emergency meetings, that's where you only have 24 hours notice, members of the public have the right to address the body about any item that is listed on the agenda. So as a practical matter, I've seen most times when there are special meetings called, public comments are allowed the same way like for regular meetings about anything on your agenda or that is off your agenda but it's within your jurisdiction. But imagine you have, let's say, a very packed special meeting agenda and you're really trying to get through the business of that agenda because it's already, there's a lot of things on it. You can say this is a special meeting. We're only going to be taking public comment related to things on tonight's agenda. And if they want to give a comment about something that's not on the agenda, you politely tell them, thank you for your interest, thank you for coming, but we're not accepting comments on anything on the agenda tonight. Please come to our next regular meeting and you'll be able to give your comments there. Okay, so that tool is available to you. Any questions about public comments or anything that we've covered so far?
Are we allowed to give public comments?
No, not while you're sitting here. There's only one exception, and that is typically when there, and I don't think it would come up here before this commission, but it's when you have a real property interest and you will have to recuse yourself and not participate in the discussion, but because you actually own that property, the law allows you to give a public comment because it affects your own property. Okay, I don't think that'll arise here, but yeah.
Interesting, thank you.
And then
Yes, sir.
I was heard, I don't know, maybe I didn't read the bylaws or everything through thoroughly. I always thought it was three, but more,
Three what?
more than 3 people could meet before it was involving the Brown Act.
That is because the majority of bodies, committees, and commissions in most cities is 5.
So it's lower, so that
Yeah,
way we.
but the rule is a majority of the body, and so San Bernardino is a larger city.
Right,
All the boards, commissions, and committees are 9 members.
okay,
And so for it to rise to a quorum, it has to be 5.
gotcha.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Teleconferencing, I'll go over this briefly. The only thing that I want you to know about teleconferencing is when you can't make a meeting, but you really want to participate, there is an option for you to participate telephonically and remotely, okay? And typically, the way that that is done is you have to list the physical address from where you're going to call in. You have to post a copy of the agenda for the meeting outside the door where you are, and the physical place that you're calling in from, it has to be also open to the public. So that if a member of the public wanted to attend the meeting, they could attend here with the rest of you, or they could attend at the physical location where the person who is participating remotely, telephonically, they can go there too and access that location. And the reason why is because the law requires that a member of the public be able to give public comment at all locations. So they have to be able to give public comment here, where most of you are, and at the location that one of you might be calling in from.
Then there must be a certain period of time that has to be requested, posted, done.
The noticing requirements are the same for the Brown Act.
Okay.
The agenda has to go out 72 hours in advance for a regular meeting. And then the posting of the agenda has to happen right before the meeting starts.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good.
Just a quick question. Do you have to be in San Bernardino?
You do not. You do not. So the Brown Act requires that a majority of you, when you have a meeting, have to be within San Bernardino. But that would be 5 out of 9, right? And so up to 4 of you, assuming 5 are here, the other 4 could be in Hawaii or Puerto Rico, or pick your favorite place where you're gonna be on vacation. That's typically when this happens. You're gonna be on vacation, or you're gonna be at a conference or something. But imagine it's the renaming of Second Lake Park. You might really wanna participate in that, even though you're on vacation, even though you're attending a conference. So you might want to call in for that. So that's how you would do it, okay? But that's the kind of thing also that you should reach out to Vanessa as early as possible, so that she can coordinate all that, make sure that the IT is set up. She's probably gonna need IT support that she doesn't normally need. So all that, there's gonna need some lead up time, logistically, for staff. So reach out to staff as early as you can if you think that you're gonna want to teleconference in, okay? All right, let's go on to AB 992, Brown Act, and use of internet-based social media platforms. So this is a law that went into effect in 2021. And the legislature amended the Brown Act to deal with social media. And they wanted to find a way that would incentivize people to be engaged with their legislative bodies using social media. The specific individuals that they were thinking of was a young single mom who would like to come and give a public comment, but she probably can't make the meeting, okay? Or an elderly person who is homebound. They're not mobile anymore. They want to participate in the processing and be able to give feedback on things, but they may not be able to come to the meetings anymore. So the legislature amended the Brown Act to allow for more social media interactions. So let's go to the slide. What does AB 982 apply to? It applies to internet-based social media platforms that are open and accessible to the public. So for example, Facebook. Facebook is an internet-based social media platform that is open and accessible to the public. A person's Facebook page is not a social media platform. Rather, it is the account or the page on the social media platform of Facebook. Facebook is the platform. So even if you use your Facebook page for friends only, this law can apply to posts made on your friends only Facebook page if it concerns official agency business. And this also dovetails with the state's public records laws. State law says that when you're talking about official business, it doesn't matter what technological medium you used, whether it was a text, whether it was email, whether it was social media, those records are disclosable as public records if someone makes a request and you fall under that request. Communications between you and staff or you and other members of the legislative body about a given topic. If you have made posts on your Facebook page, even though typically you don't use it like, for city business or just for your friends, but if you write stuff on your Facebook wall, those records are going to be public records, okay? What is it not, or what else does it apply to? So I mentioned Facebook. It can also apply to Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, blogs, TikTok, Reddit, but it's for things that are available to see by the public. Okay, so let's take Facebook. Raise your hand if you're familiar with Facebook. Is everyone pretty much familiar with Facebook? Okay. If you write something on your Facebook wall or somebody else's Facebook wall, that record all the public can see, right? This law is going to apply to it. But a Facebook private message, this law doesn't touch it. That's the equivalent of a one-on-one communication that's allowed under the Brown Act. Okay, it's a private communication. It's not a communication that's meant to be seen by all. Okay, this law covers communications that are meant to be seen by all. It specifically covers commenting, retweeting, liking, disliking, responding with positive or negative emojis. It applies to screenshotting and reposting, okay, if it's about official business. And you remember how I told you that one-on-one communication is typically okay? But I said there was a nuance with social media? This is the nuance. This law says that even one person reacting to even just one other person, their post, if it's related to official agency business. So imagine, Anthony, you posted on your Facebook wall and you said, hey public, next week the commission is going to be hearing about the petition to rename Second Lake Park. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? First of all, that post is completely legal, and it's exactly the kind of thing that the legislature intended you to do, to solicit feedback from members of the public that may not have the ability to attend the meeting. Okay? So that is perfectly legitimate and allowed. Okay? Here's where the tricky part comes in. Denise likes that post. That's not permitted under the law. If she likes it, if she dislikes it, if she gives it a heart emoji, if she comments on it and says, I want to hear your thoughts too, so please respond. All those things are prohibited under the Brown Act. Okay, so that's the one nuance. So one-on-one communication among you in person, and again, text message, email, private Facebook message, private or direct message, right, on Instagram, all that is allowed. But when it's on social media for all the world to see, you cannot interact with each other. Okay, so that's the one nuance that I want you to take away from this presentation. Let's go on to let's go on. All right, let's go to the slide that says there's a hypo. AB 992, Brown Act and use of internet-based social media platforms, hypo. So let's do a hypo. So let's say the city posts about a recently approved project on the city's Facebook account. Let's say I don't know, a few months from now, the artwork design for Nicholson Park, it's been approved. And let's say that it's already been painted. The city puts out on their Facebook and their Instagram a post showcasing the new art, right? And saying, hey, public, I want you to be aware that there's a new mural at Nicholson Park. It's brand new. Please go check it out. Okay? Can you like the city's post? Can you share it? Can you comment on it? This hypo gets into that. So, a city posts about a recently approved project on the city's Facebook account. Board member Morales comments on the agency's post. Without seeing the comment, another board member Castillo, comments on the same post. Has board member Castillo violated the Brown Act? The answer is maybe. Until the law is clarified, a best practice is to check to see if someone has commented on a post before you comment or like on the city's post. A more conservative approach is don't comment or like posts made by your agency. For example, if a quorum of the legislative body comments on the same post, there could be a serial meeting issue. Okay? So, black and white rules. You can share the city's post to your own personal pages. So you have your own personal Facebook page. The city made a Facebook post. You can share, all of you can share the city's Facebook post to your own Facebook page, and there's no problem with the law. Okay? That's black and white. You can do that. The murky part is when at least 5 of you have liked the city's post, or at least 5 of you have commented on the city's post. Okay? But you can all share it to your own pages. Okay? Or you can screenshot it and share it to your own pages. Okay? Because I want you to feel empowered that you can share information, but I just want you to be aware of these rules. Okay? Yes, sir.
So, if we violate these rules, what is the recourse for someone who say, hey, they violated those rules?
Yeah. So they can make a report to the Attorney General's office. This would be like a super low tier item for enforcement.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen any enforcement related to these rules, but it is the law. It is the law. So I would say it's low risk if you violate, especially if you did it unintentionally, or not knowingly, right? So, and that's where it can kind of get murky, right? Because if it's a city's post and you like it and you didn't quite check if there were at least 4 other people that liked it before you liked it, it's innocent. It's, yes, there was a violation, but it's not like a huge deal. You know what I mean?
And how is there like a fine or like?
There can be.
50 lashes with a
Has
wet
that
pen.
ever occurred or?
For social media, I have never seen any enforcement for social media yet. Okay. I can tell you that. Okay.
Then I don't want that battle.
Right. So last 2 slides. Can public officials still use social media to discuss personal matters among themselves? And the answer is absolutely. Nothing prevents. Let's say one of you ran the LA Marathon, right? And you're connected with each other on social media. And so one of you posts, your picture with the medal, you just finished the LA Marathon, and another, you like the post, or you comment, say, hey, great job, congratulations. Does that violate the Brown Act? No, because it has nothing to do with business within your jurisdiction. It's a purely personal matter, okay? So that's totally fine. Last slide. Does the law affect public officials texting or emailing each other? No, it does not. The law applies to communications about agency business on social media accounts that are generally open to the public. So texting and emailing, not generally open to the public, right? They're not going to read those. It does not regulate other electronic means of communication such as text messaging or emailing. However, The other means of electronic communication could raise other issues like serial meetings, if it involves 5 of you, and it can involve the California Public Records Act. I already went over that. So the pro tip for you all is don't reply all for emails. So the pro tip for staff is when you email all the commission, don't put them on the CC line, put them on the BCC line, so that it's not even possible for one of you to reply all and it hits all the commissioners, okay? But even if Vanessa or any staff send an email to all of you and you're all in the CC line, do not reply all. Just reply to the sender only. Because if you reply all, then people can say, oh, you're starting to discuss among yourselves, and if there's at least 5 of you on that email, it could violate the Brown Act, okay? So that is all that I wanted to cover with you. Again, it's not everything to know, but that's kind of the big ticket items.
What about if you're whether you're gonna attend a meeting?
Whether you're gonna attend a meeting.
Yes.
That's fine.
So if you were to send it to everyone?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Other questions? All right. Well, I think.
I have one other one.
Oh, yes.
As far as being board members for different 501Cs and stuff like that, that are in our city, our community, is that something I just let Vanessa know? You need to tag me out on Music Changing Life discussions, if that ever comes up.
Yeah, it's something, definitely reach out to Vanessa and let her know if you have any kind of personal or financial or business relationship, or you sit on the board or something like that. Let Vanessa know. It doesn't always mean that you will have a conflict that we have to recuse.
Right.
But let Vanessa know, that way she can vet it and talk to me about it, and then we can give you some proper advice, whether you need to recuse yourself or you can still participate.
Sounds good, thanks.
Okay, yeah. Well, I want to thank you all for your time, and you have my business card, so if anything comes up, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to speak with any of you. Thank you.
Thank you. One last thing, is that resolution for the naming of the facilities, is that going out to us through email or?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say if you want to see it now, just to study up on it, even before it gets to an agenda, Vanessa can send it to you. Otherwise, she's gonna include it in the agenda packet when the item is gonna be coming to you. But if you want an advanced look and try to study it already, Vanessa can share with you now. There's nothing wrong with that.
Would that be possible, Vanessa? That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Going back to the agenda, we have ad hoc committee updates, community engagement.
Well, I guess I mentioned this before, but this was a very excellent meeting, but the public doesn't know anything about it. And I think I'm gonna ask you if you could possibly talk to the city manager, the possibility of having televised our meetings here, so the public could know what we're talking about. Public has no idea what we talked about today. Is there that possibility? I'm community engagement. I want the community to know about what we're doing.
So it's a budget decision, right? It's a policy decision to be made. It's not a legal one. It's a dollars and cents decision. But remember what I told you about using your social media, right? All of you, if you have social media pages, can do your own efforts to promote the fact that there's going to be a meeting and invite the public to come, and that also can have an impact, in bringing more people to the meetings.
So what would you recommend we do if we want our meetings televised?
What I would recommend that you do is, who is your nominating council person, or was it the mayor, sir, for you?
The mayor.
Okay, I would talk to the mayor and raise that issue with her. Because that is something that is a budget decision, and the mayor and council control the budget. Okay, so that is the vehicle for you to advocate to try and
Thanks
get
for
that.
answering the question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are we allowed to live stream
Yes.
our own meeting?
Yes, you are.
So, yeah, it'd be on our personal account though, and that's fine.
It could, and any member of the public can also live stream. Yeah, this is no one has a reasonable expectation of privacy here, so everything that you do, people can photograph you, people can video, and people can live stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? That's
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Excellent.
And yeah, community engagement. So we're on our committee ad hoc reports. We haven't met yet, but that was a great question, Jim, about getting it, out there and on a, video recorded and out there to the public. So I think we still have to meet, but I'm gonna pass it on to the Historical Monuments and Sister Cities Committee.
Okay, so I did have one question about the fountain. So I talked to the maintenance dude over there. He says there's a pinhole in the copper pipe, and that's why the fountain isn't working right next to City Hall. So we need to figure out, get a shark bite on there, but I think it probably needs to be replaced because the way he was acting was every time they replace the pinhole, a new pinhole shows up. So some possible ways to do that, because a lot of times those pipes are within the concrete or below ground, is you put a side pipe along, the side of the feature, and then there's a decorative something that goes over it to protect the pipe itself.
We had that happen in our house. They just took like an inner, like a clear tube and put it right in through there, fed it all the way through. No more leaks, no more popping.
That would be awesome, yeah. But whatever it is, we'd love to have that feature working properly.
It would be nice.
So, and what's the maintenance guy that works on? What's his name? I forget his name, but real nice guy. So he deserves a raise.
Kenny.
Yeah. But that and we still need to.
They're setting us up. Dates was the last I got back. Whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Okay. All right. And would it be all right if when we look at the Sister City stuff, I brought my mom with me?
I don't see why not. We'll figure out.
And could you buy us
location.
lunch?
Yeah, she would just be sitting there, but it's a little easier for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's go. That's
everything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, I do have an inquiry about the ad hoc committee, the historical. Robert, prior you mentioned about having, establishing already a list.
Yes.
Is it possible we can
start
start looking at it?
Yeah. Let me get back to that. To be honest, that was like a long time ago.
I know, and you've been working on it, and send what you have now.
So what happened is AI is not as cool as it spells it all out, right? So to do a large file like that, it's not as easy. So you have to break it down into pieces. And then I started realizing, wow, what am I getting into right here, right? So yeah, I'll get back on it though, definitely.
Yeah, but if you can share what you
what we have, yeah, that and I think I received the initial list from you, but I'll give you that original copy. She's like, me?
As going back to the arts and the historical, the ad hoc, I went to a historical event at Norton for the museum and whatnot. It was great.
It was incredible.
There were a lot of people there that I didn't know were within our city or out on the borders that have a lot of history that we could be using from. The police department has their home on the second floor, has I didn't know that, has a historical group from themselves. There's libraries that have, so that's something we can kind of combine and maybe work together with to fulfill more of our history side of our tables.
And speaking of that kind of thing, last Wednesday, Stephen and I went to the Restored Organ presentation at the California Theater.
Yeah.
It was really special.
Yeah. We got the tour, got to go up in the conchives and look at the pipes and how they cleaned it all up and tuned everything. It was beautiful.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was my honor.
It was great, yes.
Well, you guys you represent the whole city. That's good to
Channel,
go.
was it Channel 7? Channel
Yes.
7 News was there, and
Yeah.
it was on the news that night or the next night.
Yeah.
And the guy, Mark Herman, who restored it,
Harmon.
Was speaking. Harmon?
Yeah, Harmon Pianos.
Okay, he was speaking about it, and explaining how special it is for San Bernardino, which makes San Bernardino even more special. It was very, very, very nice.
Yeah, that's one of 12 in the nation that's the only one in service that plays where it was installed.
Cool history.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was able to go there for a bit, and I didn't get to do the tour because I had to come back and do city.
Oh, you were
business, but-
there? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
everyone was like, "Oh, you have a commissioner." I was like, so I started naming, the females that are on the commission. I was like, it could be Curry, it could be Herrera, it could be. So, but when they said your name, I was like, oh, but you were already
I
upstairs.
was already at
Yeah.
the top.
That gentleman that's playing the piano, I guess he's from Harmon Pianos out in Orange County. The whole family's been playing organs and stuff for their whole lives.
Yeah,
So
it was
he said,
amazing.
yeah, your best seat whenever you go to that theater is up in the balcony because the way the acoustics are set, it's set to go that way.
Yeah.
And we were represented at the history thing.
Acoma as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of history this weekend. So Acoma, they got their Earth Day down, right?
Yeah,
We can do this in the announcements, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we do have people
Yeah,
in the
absolutely,
audience
sir.
too waiting. So future agenda items, action item requests. We could start with Jim.
Well, I think we should talk about Second Light as a future item next month. And we need to hear both sides so we can basically make a decision, because it's our responsibility to make a recommendation to the city council for their final decision.
Is there
on
more than
whether
is there more
it
than two
be
sides? Is my
recommended or not.
question.
So,
Paul, can
Go
you
ahead.
let him finish speaking?
I thought he would.
that's all I had. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I was just saying, is there more than two sides to that story?
Go ahead.
I wanted to add, the appropriate time to take up that matter is when it is fully vetted by staff. And I don't know if it's ready yet, so I'm gonna ask Vanessa, if it is ready, and if it's not, when do you anticipate it will be?
It is not ready yet. I just had a follow up with city clerk's office in regards to the addresses. So it's still not ready, and the recommendation to present to the commission. I would say at this point, probably with timing, probably not May, possibly June. Because they still have to review it with city manager's office.
Okay.
And city attorney's office.
Right, so my recommendation would be, per your process that I reviewed with you, wait until it is fully vetted, and then likely in June, then it'll be on your agenda.
Does that sound good, Jim?
June is fine.
Okay. Thank you. Curry?
No, I don't have any.
I think everything I requested last week or last month was what I requested. I guess a question to the city attorney's office would be, is it up to staff to decide what agenda items end up on the agenda? Or when we vote on agenda items, do they end up on the agenda next month?
It's really a negotiation between both. I would say you can certainly request that an agenda item be placed on the next month's agenda. At the same time, however, staff knows better than all of you all the business that needs to be taken care of at that next agenda. And so you might make that request, but staff might not put it on if there's too many other things going on that they feel need to be acted on first. And so I would say have a conversation. In exactly a time like this, when you're requesting for future items, have a conversation with staff and say, I want to request this. I would like for it to be on the next agenda. Do you think that that's possible? And just talk about it.
Okay. I guess, when are we gonna put our goals on the agenda? As well as the budget that we wanna, recommend for council to approve, for arts and culture spending?
So, Commissioner, as far as goals, I haven't met with everyone one-on-one yet. I'm still trying to schedule those. So, based off upon everyone me having to be able to schedule one-on-one to establish those goals, so that we can draft the list present it at potentially the next, or which timeline could be the next or the following meeting to review that. And then we can go about that way. As far as budget, there was, 2 meetings ago, presented the public art policy, and then Denise, we can loop you into that now that you're our official to review. So those have been sent out. So if you have any edits, revisions to that before we start going into community input, then we can establish that and create that public art policy, which in there has language about potential funding elements. As far as a budget, that would be a discussion item amongst the commission to advise, to go to council of recommending of specific projects, art projects, whether that be designation for sculpture or murals, and to identify those elements to present to the city manager and city council.
So for clarity, we would discuss the budget based on the policy that's being proposed, or? Twofold.
It more of, we want to establish a set art policy. There had, from my understanding, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, Michael and Robert, even Stephen, you've been part of the Arts Commission for quite some time and within the city. There is not a formalized public art policy. So I want to establish that and then create that so we can use that as our foundation to seeking grants, seeking additional funding, identifying that with projects, aligning with community development and economic development as well, and any other funding sources.
It's not on the agenda, but I don't know. I'd like to get the commissioner for the Ward 7 appointed, and I was wondering, is there any prevention under censure of appointing a commissioner?
No.
So we can request a treasurer. Okay, cool.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. That's all.
Is there any other questions around budget or?
And
Go ahead,
speaking
Steve,
of
first.
budget, from the arts policy that you put out, the public arts policy, I see that there's going to be a public arts committee, and from that committee there'll be funds raised to fund other projects. Am I reading that correctly?
That's drafted. It's not confirmed. It's not finalized. So that's up for discussion.
Got you.
And, and also community input.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we have the dialogue and the conversations to identify moving forward, because I don't want to establish something and go to staff report, create a resolution, and then come back and say, no,
Have we
why
ever
did we talk
had a
about
public
this?
arts committee in the city?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Sounds interesting to me.
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I think you had
I wanted to make a comment on the budget. Be aware that next Wednesday, the mayor and council are having a budget workshop. So they're not adopting a budget next Wednesday, but it's kicking off that process. I don't want you to miss the boat. And so if you want to have some influence on trying to appropriate some money in that budget, try to move quickly.
We want 100,000, dude.
We should all show up.
Try it.
200,
Sit in
200.
different places.
So I'll tell you, right? So here's a tip. When you go to give public comments at the council meeting, you could certainly say that you're a member of this commission, but don't say you're speaking for the commission unless you really are. Unless you had on your agenda, say, hey, we want to designate a spokesperson to go and talk to the council and present our position on blah, blah, blah. Unless that happened, don't say you're speaking for the commission. But you can give your own individual comments. And like I mentioned to you, sir, earlier, you all can go to your council person, you can go to the mayor and say, I believe that we should have a line item in the budget for public art. I would like it to be this. I want you to raise this at your budget workshop. You all can exert influence that way, Okay, you don't have to wait for a meeting, you can all do it individually. Okay, so I wanna just put that out there because they're gonna be starting to talk about the budget next Wednesday.
Well, send
But
those
that's for
texts today.
2027?
Yeah, this next,
Correct.
for this next fiscal year.
Okay.
Mhm.
For the 29th, right? Wednesday?
Yes.
That's
It's at
gonna
1
be the
PM, I
library.
believe, right?
Yes.
1 PM at the library.
They're starting at 1:30.
1:30.
I'll be
That's the intent. There's not a posted agenda yet, but the tentative schedule is 1:30. So it's subject to change, but.
A question for you then, around, our powers as a commission. Say we wanted to, recommend to the council to adopt the impact fee that once existed,
Mm.
that was allocated to arts and culture development and historical preservation, I believe.
Okay.
Is that something that we can agendize and recommend to council as a way to bring in a revenue source for?
Yes, you absolutely can. But let me tell you how to be, let me tell you how it's gonna get most seen. Okay? Put it on an agenda, talk about it, come up with a resolution with a very specific proposal. That resolution will be included in the quarterly update among all boards, committees, and commissions that is presented to the council at a quarterly basis. That resolution will be included. But the question is, will it be seen? Will it be noticed? Will it be read? So, once you have an adopted resolution, what I'd recommend is that each one of you individually email that to your council person and to the mayor. Say, hey, I don't want this to get lost in the shuffle. I want you to read this resolution. We just adopted this as a commission. This is what we want. I really want you to read this, and I want to talk with you about it, and I want you to raise this at a council meeting. Okay, so that is what I would recommend to have the greatest effect of being seen and for it to, be taken seriously. Do that
And we would create the resolution amongst
among yourselves.
the commission.
Correct. And staff will help you draft the resolution. And when they need help, then they reach out to me.
Put it on the agenda.
Okay. I don't know if I should raise I know with Liddy, when she was here, we did have policy that we all had worked on that was in your office supposedly, and it disappeared.
Okay.
And that's just a question of, how is there no record if it was sent to the city attorney's office?
Was it an adopted policy, an adopted resolution?
It was a draft that we were all working on, that we were gonna push to council.
What year?
It was last year?
I think a lot of commissioners that
Yeah,
are
just
here had
before.
worked on it.
Yeah,
It was year before last.
Yeah,
Like
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago, I guess.
Okay.
And we worked hard on that.
We worked on it for 7 months, 7 different
Who
meetings.
was, okay, other than Liddy, who else touched it on
Uh,
staff?
I'm not 100% sure which staff members had access to touch it or who had the full.
Okay, let me ask some of my colleagues,
Yeah.
see if anyone has heard of it or has seen that. And then I can forward it with Vanessa and you guys can pick it up again.
Thank you.
I think that would be the faster route than starting fresh with the new
Sure.
public art
Yeah,
policy.
and I was not aware of that, so thank you for that. I'll ask around.
Yeah, thank you. Any other?
Are we
So I
on
don't-
announcements yet?
I don't have any other I don't have any agenda
Oh,
items. I was just-
we're on agendas.
I'm still on the agenda items. I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave it
worries.
to you.
No
I was
worries.
going to.
I don't got nothing. I just want another another commissioner on the 7th Ward. That's all I want right now. It's cool when we have a full board, and we can just, make these decisions together. And I like an opportunity to have a quorum more often. Like not having it last time, we really needed that meeting. So I'm glad everyone's here too.
There you go.
Last
Can I-
week, we were.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. I want to just. I would like to put one item on the agenda for the future agenda items to put forth to bring back the impact or.
Okay.
Let's see how to phrase it. To review the past existing impact development fee that funded the arts and culture in San Bernardino. To review the old resolution and then discuss it and possibly bring it back for a resolution to go in front of council.
Does,
I don't know
does
if
he
that
need a
makes
second?
any
Or?
sense.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Is that clear
additional
enough?
Agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look into that. Would
That would be so awesome.
be enough time to sort of
Like the old days, just have a whole account for us.
the next meeting.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, if he just wants to
Review
pull
it
it,
and
up and
discuss it.
review it and discuss
Okay.
it, yeah, and see about changes to it.
Okay. Okay.
Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
And
agenda?
then, Steve?
Yeah. When I was out there at the history event at Norton, it made me nostalgic because I've been here for 35 years. I went there and picked up groceries while it was still open at the PX and got food for the Reserve Center off of 3rd and Waterman there. We did our cooking. I just feel like, and I've talked with the general manager there because he was my boss at one time of the airport, and I'm trying to figure out a way to have a couple aircraft there, and I'm not sure how to go about it. I did talk to somebody at the Palm Springs Air Museum that was at the event, and she said it's a long haul. You have to have a 501c and funding and get the aircraft and so on and so forth. She gave me a couple of leads to maybe ask people for aircrafts or shells of aircraft that we could have out there to represent the time spent at that base and how it was a pillar of our financial economy for a while until it was closed. And then it just kind of made San Bernardino go flat for a while until it came back up again. But I think that if we can establish something where the museum, I mean, I've walked through the museum, I hadn't been to that museum before, but I just think that it could be spend a little bit more energy or time on and effort on to highlight that. I saw a picture while walking in there and I wondered what happened to it. There was a big tower out in front of the guards shack that looked like a rocket, but it was huge, it was massive. And it said, I think it said USAF or something like that, or M. It had some letters on it, and you could see people standing out in front of it. I'm like, oh man, that would be great to maybe even recreate that on a smaller scale or something along those lines. It just called more attention to that facility and that place and what strength it brought. And then I felt the same way about the Veterans Museum as well. I don't feel that we have enough museums in San Bernardino. The County Museum is great, but I'm thinking that our quality of museums could be enhanced, and we could have more museums, not just to help out the veterans one, but a major hub museum that can be held for all things, all different styles of art, and all maybe some of the sister city art that we have as well. So that's I don't know how you fit that into an agenda, but those are plans and ideas that I think are important to try and push forward.
How would that be an agenda item?
I don't know. It's more of a dream, I guess, right now than
Well, it
anything else. I
sounds
spoke
A
it. Let's
dis-
go with
You know, a discussion with, would be economic development, community development of, developers coming in and.
Well, no, maybe we could have the Norton Air Force Museum, a docent come in and talk to us, and maybe we could share the idea with him and see what he thinks.
It sounds like an ad hoc committee kind of thing, and I remember you mentioned this a while back too, Stephen. I think I suggested that maybe some connection with either Plains of Fame in Chino or March Air Force Base.
Right. And you said you'd mentioned
and-
you know somebody at March, right?
Yeah, well, I did, the
Oh, okay.
museum director.
Right.
Because I had held conferences there for the Tuskegee Airmen for many years.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's probably gone now.
Yeah.
But they have many, many planes, and they probably would be very willing to collaborate.
Yeah, I don't see why not. And it's the same thing ties to something I'm bouncing all over, but with the
Street
trolley on the E Street trolley thing.
Electric.
I actually found a trolley in Fontana that they had totally restored. It was like 20 grand, something like that. But where we already have funds in the bucket for, we could be putting that up in a place and setting up a whole movement of people to go to that space and do things like that. So, gotta be looking out. So I don't know how that's an agenda, but.
Well, I don't know how you got my brain going, so we'll see what happens.
And it just seems like we have, we have Moreno Valley, we have Paris, we have Palm Springs, we have Chino. Those places have predominant aircraft there that people can go and look at, and it's a tax revenue. It's bringing cash in for those people that are spending money and going to these things. So, just a thought.
Maybe invite Chuck.
So let's move on the agenda.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have no items yet.
Thank you.
I was wondering if we'd be able to, it's my turn. If we could we revisit designating the Azteca Theaters building as a historical Route 66 landmark. Could we revisit that, kind of look into that?
Yeah, we'll have some conversations with, because it is privately owned. It's privately owned. So we have to look at conversation with economic development, community development, and see what is it deemed, can it, or was it, those elements. We have to do the recon. I think it's something we could possibly bring back some context information for the next meeting. I can't, with the conversations and dialogue that needs to take place, I can't promise full details, but I can definitely start, and we can have it on as an agenda item to share some context and see where we can leave off. But I know with the centennial of the Route 66, I know there's various locations and landmarks that are really perceived as the asset and valuable for the community. So yeah.
Thank you.
That's good timing. With the chairman, I wanted to mention that the Native Sons of the Golden West, which I'm very involved with, are having their Southern California weekend this fall, specifically on Route 66, to preserve. It's our 100th anniversary, and we're going to spotlight that in the fall of this year. So if we want to get involved with Route 66, I think it's great public awareness to have this commission to be part of that, preserving the history of California, Route 66. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I noticed that I looked quickly on my phone. I noticed that the chairman has a Dodger shirt on, and I just wanted to bring everybody to date. They're actually ahead 2-1 right now.
Is that why your notice is going on?
Hold on. I just wanted to make sure we get the agenda items.
Yeah, so the two.
No,
not done yet.
no, I'm not leaving.
Because they're not done yet.
I'm gonna give my card to the city attorney.
Okay.
Okay. So the two, right now, two agenda items is bring back to review the impact fee resolution. For
Impact
future
development
discuss-
fee? Yeah.
And then look at elements of deeming Azteca building as historical.
Do we have a process for that?
Yeah, parameters.
For even like deeming any buildings historical?
We have to find,
That's
because
what-
that's what we're gonna look into and
Okay.
have those conversations about that, what that looks like, and how, if it's not, what that process is, or if it is, and we can.
Develop the process?
We could disclose that information. Again, I do know that it is private property, which makes it, since it's not city owned, we can't just, hey. So.
Here we are.
Yeah,
The
so
tour
look at
start
the
next week.
review, get as much context to be able to come back and share that next meeting. And if we don't have enough, we can move it forward to the following meeting and give some more time. So those are the two agenda items that we have. So if you, chairperson, if you want to,
Does anyone have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to put those two things on the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then last thing is just city staff and commissioner announcements, and then I believe we could move to adjournment.
Yeah. City staff, the only thing I mentioned briefly, for those who haven't been, had a chance to schedule some, one-on-one, Denise will get you looped in. April, was it April that sent it out?
Yep.
Yeah, April, the executive assistant, will send out, new, availability for those who haven't scheduled, and if we can schedule it, if it kind of conflicts, there's some wiggle room. I don't mind staying a little bit later. I'm always, my mornings are usually open. You can get it in the morning, but anything after 5, if needed, we can work something out. So I'll have April resend that out for those who haven't been able to schedule, so that way we can consolidate potential goals and get them back to the commission. That's all I have for city staff.
Vanessa, are we taking any action, by the way, on the murals?
Officially,
Or-
not right now, not today.
So that's gonna be done through email, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you were given the
packets.
The
yeah.
packets, if you wanna take a few minutes to kind of feel like you can provide some rankings, 1 through 5, and then we can compile them. If you wanna take the packets with you, I would highly advise not to share the packets, because it does have the artist, information, so it is confidential. And then if you can provide, by email then through that to, Lisa, April, and myself, so that way if we can get no later than tomorrow afternoon, potentially, and then we'll take your rankings, put it in a rubric, and we'll go with the next step. Steven?
Do you want to have more than just rankings? I mean, do you want to have like an explanation, 1 through 5, whatever, of the presentation, the appearance of the idea, so on and so forth, or you just want to write it 1 through 5 and go that way?
If you wanna give more context, we're more than welcome to provide more context.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll compile the, from the commission, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
But we are, the anticipated announcement to the artist election, is Friday the 24th.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted clarity before we leave. Any announcements? I know you already gave an announcement, Jim, about Route 66. Do you have anything else you'd like to
Nothing
say?
new.
You're good?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Curry? Do you have any
Any
announcements?
announcements?
Oh. I'm fine. I don't have any announcements currently.
I just want to welcome Commissioner Salas. Thank you for coming, and I hope you have a great time with us, because we usually have a good time.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Route 66, when does that start? When do we start preparing, or when is the actual day of our events?
The official route centennial celebration is, or the date recognition nationally, is November.
Okay.
That's the actual centennial what would be recognized as Route 66. And then as far as city, we are kicking off in June with the Great Race coming in.
Okay.
And that is slated for Saturday, June 27th. We are finalizing some details before I get that out to everyone. Actually, all the details is just finalizing the marketing, the branding. But it is set for June 27th on Saturday. They are coming in, and they are, our pit stop is going to be at the 66er Stadium. And so we are partnering with the 66ers. The 130 cars are coming in for display, working out some other fun family engagement activities, and then there's also a ball game that night. So leading into the stadium and hopefully having a ball game. So we are we started reaching out to ask for sponsorships, donations for that, because it was an added event for us. And then from that point on, we do plan on having some recognition and pop-ups throughout from now through November, and then with November having a full celebration.
Okay.
In addition to that, the Love Your Block formal announcements are set to be for phase 2 funding. are set to be announced this Saturday.
I saw
It's in collaboration, so there's two Arbor, a couple of different elements. So it's going to be a packed Saturday. We have the DNA, their monthly cleanup with the tree planting event that's happening in downtown, with the Love Your Block as well. That's joining efforts on that with the announcement. So that's from 8 to 12. And then our city department, Arbor Earth Day, was rescheduled from the 11th because it was supposed to have been raining and it did not. But we're making it work, and it will be on the 25th from 10 to 2 at the Green Community Garden. So both of them will have some tree giveaways and whatnot. So with regards to the Love Your Block, it was to the theme and the emphasis was around Route 66.
Right.
Yeah. So adding some elements of that. There's the state, the Caltrans is going to be doing some work along the route in preparation as well.
Cool. Is it going to be signage, more signage going out for Route 66 as well?
That's what all those elements we're looking at. We also have the economic development has a facade program right now to help businesses with their facades of their businesses that. There's different elements. La Plaza Park design is establishing themes around Route 66 as well.
Okay, sounds good. I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
And,
Any announcements?
No, nothing for me.
Okay,
And I was going to touch back on that Route 66. I was wondering if the city had planned on any kind of cosmetic work done on, because if they're going to have the Great Race, they're going to come off Cajon Boulevard, and once they make that little turn down to Mount Vernon, it needs some work. So I was wondering if you guys had planned on-
They're actually not coming down.
And that's what I was going to ask. So, because that's the actual Route 66.
Correct.
But
Correct.
they're going to meet on E Street at 66er Stadium. So what is the route?
So there's the official route, which east-west of Foothill, which turns
to Fifth Street.
Which Foothill turns into Fifth Street. So if you're coming westbound, it's Foothill turns into Fifth, and then it curves to Mount Vernon. So the official route is north on Mount Vernon, which then splits to Mount Vernon, splits to Cajon, and then Cajon continues. There was extension of what they called at that time the business district of Route 66, and it did extend, continued east through 5th Street, which then went into East Street, and that's where the business district of like the museum, McDonald's Museum, and other elements, and then the hosting of the Route 66 car rendezvous back to 66 car show, like that was established in downtown in terms of the business district of the city. But the official is that so the Great Race, they are starting in Springfield, Illinois, and then coming through what we call the mother road, and coming through. So when they're coming into San Bernardino, they're coming from Yucca Valley. So they're going to be coming through Kelsey, Amboy area, and 29 Palms, and coming down that way. So they're still fine tuning the route, and as far as the exit as well, we're looking at where they're exiting when they leave from here, San Bernardino. Their next and final stop is Pasadena. So we're working out those details. We'll make that announcement.
I just feel bad for that going.
Something you brought up reminded me, and for the city attorney's office, I know city council had brought up taxing the Orange Show tickets to help pay for fees needed to manage short-term rentals. When doing that research, is it possible that a percentage of those fees would go to arts and culture? Since we have outside, we have these huge arts and culture events happening in the city, and we have people from all over coming to San Bernardino. But how are we generating that revenue for local arts and culture to thrive? Like the muralists that are here today, right? To be able to fund more projects like this. So I don't know if it's possible for you to include in your research or.
Sure.
Well, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. We'll see what we can do. I also have worked with other cities in helping raise money. for public art, and I've also helped them create public art commissions. And so I have a little bit of experience with that. And so I'll have a conversation with staff and share those ideas, what we've done in other cities that have raised some money.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think that's, everyone's good, right?
Yeah.
Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
We're adjourning at, well, who's seconding?
I second.
I did.
Second?
Everybody
Okay.
did.
Aye.
All in favor?
Nice.
Adjourning at 6:35.
We out of here.
Vanessa,
Yes, ma'am.
were you able to talk to the ladies at
job,
your meeting
Chairman.
about the,